seen a human being eat in such a disgusting fashion. You ever see it? He's eating today, stuffing it. I never saw. This guy takes a pancake and he's shoving it in his mouth. He's like,
thank you, guys.
Bites this big.
Thank you, it's not a big deal.
He's pushing it in. We never saw a guy eat like this. I told my son, he was watching. He said, Daddy, look. I said, don't watch. Little bites, little bites.
Donald Trump yesterday in Warwick, Rhode Island on the campaign trail criticizing Ohio Governor John Kasich for his table manners. Not exactly what you hear in a presidential campaign, and yet if Mr. Trump has had success with it, it merits comments. And we are getting your comments as well as those of two panelists just joining us right now. First, from Newsmax Washington, former Illinois Congressman Michael Patrick Flanagan, and via Skype from Connecticut, former Lieutenant Governor of New York, Betsy McCaughey. It is good to have you back, and of course we are continuing to take phone calls at 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629. And for the second time tonight, let's head out west to the Beehive State of Utah. Shirley is checking in from Wellington, Utah. She says she is a rare breed of Utah Republican. Hi, Shirley.
Hi.
Welcome.
Yeah. Most of the people in Utah are for Cruz, but my husband and myself and some of our friends are on the Trump train.
So, mindful of what happened in Utah with the caucus where Mr. Cruz prevailed, what have you told your friends and neighbors about subsequent primaries and caucuses back east?
I haven't really told them that much.
You mean you're so polite, you just keep to yourself. You haven't taunted them saying, hey, you know, Trump is your choice, and you don't feel the need to point it out to them why he's had that electoral success elsewhere, huh?
I put it on Facebook all the time. All my friends know anyway.
I see. So you do it not face-to-face, but via social media with Facebook.
Right.
Well, we're glad you picked up. Go ahead.
We really like the fact that Trump will stand up for the American people. You look at his children and how respectful and hardworking they are, and I think that says a lot.
Fair enough, Shirley. Let's get the thoughts of our panelists. Let me begin with Michael Patrick Flanagan. You know, Mike, Trump out there insulting our old congressional colleague John Kasich about table manners, but it works. And then Shirley mentions Trump's kids, how well-mannered and well-behaved they are, and the Donald is a bit more, how can I say, a bit more of a free spirit when it comes to getting on the stump.
Well, being a guy who's shoved a few pancakes in his time myself, I guess I can sympathize with John. But I'll tell you what Trump has got. He's got the three things you need to get elected president. He's got the ability to drive out his own vote in huge numbers, and we're seeing all kinds of people coming to vote that haven't voted in years. The Republican base is electrified. He's got the ability to drive down the opponent's votes. Hillary's people are beginning to understand what a criminal she is and how awful it would be to support her for president. And he has the ability to pull some Democrats away and pull them to his side and make them into Republicans. No other candidate out there can do that. He's the only one who can beat her in November, and it's wonderful that we're nominating him.
Let me, you hear Mike right there, Betsy, sharing Mr. Trump's evaluation earlier tonight that Mr. Trump is, in fact, the presumptive nominee. Now, Mr. Flanagan comes from a place where politics is pretty tough, but so is politics in New York State. And with that New York state of mind, is the Trump rhetoric refreshing or kind of par for the course in New York? Your take?
It's refreshing. People are interested in listening to him, as you can tell from the television ratings when he's on the debate stage, 500% higher than in previous televised presidential debates. He's getting huge audiences and bringing out record numbers of fans when he speaks, and now they're becoming voters supporting him. He is the presumptive nominee, and he's put his finger on the most important issue, jobs. When he spoke tonight, he reached out to the people of Indiana and he said, if I'm president, Carrier, the air conditioning company, will not be leaving that state and taking the jobs to Mexico. That is the issue, and Donald Trump is the only one talking about it.
Well, let's do some more talking with our callers, and we welcome from the bluegrass state of Kentucky and the municipality of Laverne there in Kentucky, our caller, Scott. Scott, welcome to our coverage of America Votes 2016.
Good evening. Appreciate you taking my call.
You bet.
I was really impressed tonight when Donald Trump gave his speech. The way he handled himself. We know he can be a little bit flamboyant and whatnot, but I like the way he's beginning to come. It's almost like I don't want to presume that he's growing into it, but he's beginning to look statesman-like to me. The way he began to just very succinctly hit certain points, and I especially like the fact that he touched on the fact that Hillary Clinton had her chance as Secretary of State, and she didn't take the call at 3 o'clock in the morning. And anybody who defends her, it's an indefensible position when an ambassador of the United States is treated like collateral damage. With respect to our soldiers who have died in the fields in many countries around the world, an ambassador ought to be treated better. And I think Trump would take the call. I think Trump wouldn't be going to bed at all. And I just like the way he's beginning to actually talk about why she is not qualified for this office. And it was one of the best speeches I've heard him give.
Well, good. Listen, hang in here for the next minute with us as we've taken your call, Scott, and we're glad to have you. Let me turn to Michael Patrick Flanagan. Mike, Mr. Trump travels down to your turf tomorrow in the nation's capital to give a major policy address on national security. You hear what Scott says. He's got a real chance tomorrow to resonate further with people like Scott. 30 seconds, Mike.
Yeah, real quick. I think Trump has got a real bump in the polls over the last couple of weeks because he sounds more presidential. We had a little bit of a regression with the pancakes and the other stuff, and I think he's got to find a balance with that, enough to stay real, but he's got to start sounding more presidential more regularly. And this speech is part of that, and I applaud him for it. More of that, please.
Well, presidential with a little bit of spice and a hint of bluegrass from Scott in Laverne, Kentucky. Scott, we thank you for the call. Betsy, Mike, we ask you to stay right where you are. And you, as you stay at home or wherever you may be watching us, pick up the phone and call us at 1-877-639-7629. Back with more after this.